Complete control.
No shirt, no shoes, no dive. Right. Learn it.
Hey, Complete Control Radio, hanging out with the Gallows. First time ever in the studio. They're on Epitaph Records. You might have heard about them when you saw them at the Warped Tour in 2007. They're in the studio now. I'm hanging out with Frank the Tank. I'm going to call you that from now on.
You can call me whatever you like.
And I'm hanging out with Lee, who's also a.k.a. Nathan Gallows. Welcome to the studio.
Hello.
How are you guys?
We're good. Yeah,
It's great to have you guys here.
It's great to be here.
We tried to set it up, I think, during the Warped Tour.
Yeah.
But explain to our audience what it's like being on the Warped Tour. Frank, can you give us...
It's like being in a traveling circus.
When you say traveling circus, like, I want some details. Like, you come... Because the thing
Like-
was, before you guys came out, I had told everyone... Their first, tour in America is going to be on the Warped Tour, and I felt bad for you guys. I was like, and their first time here, they really got to go out on that to go out there and experience life on the road.
We were so stoked because it's like the biggest festival, punk festival you can be on, and so we're like, first tour, we're going to cover every state that's worth going to and a bunch that aren't, and it's just going to be amazing. And we get out there and we're like, every single day you wake up and you're like, where's the toilet? What's for breakfast? Why is it 150 degrees? I'm going to die. Like it was the best 2 months we've ever had as a band. I think there was a lot of arguments, a lot of fights, but at the same time we're just so stoked to be out playing shows every day. So it was cool.
Lee, being from England and your first experience being the Warped Tour, being out there in basically parking lots, fields, anywhere that they can set up the tour, they essentially book it. How was that? Growing up in England, coming over here and doing that tour, how did that feel as your first experience with the Gallows?
It was incredible, really. Like you said, we would wake up in just anywhere,
a field.
It would literally be a field, and it'd be nothing around us at all whatsoever. Like, we'd be literally in the middle of nowhere.
We loved that. It was so weird to us because we're such a small club type of band, and then to be thrown out onto a stage and that's just could essentially hold thousands of people, hundreds of thousands if needs be. We got upgraded to the main stage every now and again.
Yeah.
And it was just blowing our mind because we weren't even big at home. We only really broke when we came back from that. And so some days you'd wake up and you're like, what time are we on? And they're like, in about 15 minutes. And you're like, what the how
our
does
best
that even
shows
work?
were always the ones we played as we woke up, though. I thought
the last minute.
Yeah.
Someone running on.
No
saying, hey,
chance
you
to
guys are
get
on now.
ready.
Yeah.
Dallas, 11 a.m.
Yeah.
11 a.m. in Dallas.
11 a.m.
And I'll guess it was easily by that point already over 100 degrees.
Yeah. And it was pretty much the best show. It was one of my favorite shows we've ever played. Just because people don't know what to expect from us, and just because we are a small club band, we always bring that wherever we go. So if you give us a parking lot with 150 kids, we'll make them work for it. So we've got a huge circle pit at 11 a.m. and you just know that all those kids, we've just ruined their day because they're so stoked to be at Warped Tour, and then 5 minutes after we play, they're like,
let's go see Chio.
Yeah, it's not even noon yet. They're out of breath. Yeah. They're like, I still got to save it up for Bad Religion, and they're not on until 6. Yeah. Hey, speaking of Bad Religion, you guys are out on the road with them. You meet them on the Warped Tour, and then you ended up going out with them towards the end of last year. What was it like being out on the road with Bad Religion and founding member Brett Gurewitz signing your band? I mean, was that a band that you guys were into growing up over there in England?
Yeah, I mean,
Totally.
It's more importantly, Brett, what he's done for music, punk music especially, he owns pretty much the coolest record label in the world, I think.
Yeah.
No
Dude,
offense.
you know what? You know what? Check it out. I wouldn't have started Side One without
Exactly.
Brett Gurewitz and Epitaph Records, because I remember even when we started Side One, we had to have the same P.O. box as them. And I used to go collect our mail, and then there was the Epitaph mail.
Yeah.
We'd get one letter at Side One, and Epitaph got boxes, and I would just sit there, and I'd be like, does Brett come and pick it up? And the guy's like, no, he doesn't come here. And that was in 90, you know what I'm saying?
It's awesome. But we always wanted to be a part of that, and we managed to tie it in because it was actually an effect of our record signing in the UK that we managed to pull that together. And because back home we're on Warner Brothers, so it's major.
What's that like? What's that like being on a major, in England, and then being on an indie like Epitaph here in the States? What's that like?
Brilliant. I mean, we only ever wanted to, our country is the size of Florida, pretty much. So there's only so far you can go with that, and there's only so much you're going to get. But if you break America, you've made it a career for life.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to come out here and jump straight on a major and then play a bunch of indie tunes, because that's essentially what we are. You know, we're an indie band with some really good pop hooks, and we didn't want it. We felt like to really be appreciated over here, we needed to be on that record label. Yeah. And I'm just so glad that Brett felt the same way, because it wasn't a case of us begging or him begging. We just both came together at the same time and talked, you know, in depth about it, and both went forward, and it's been fantastic ever since. So.
You know, I've had a lot of Epitaph recording artists on here, whether it's the Bouncing Souls, you know, the Rancid guys, and everyone always says the best thing about, you know, being on Epitaph is being able to work with Brett, because he understands artists, he understands the vision of what, you know, say a band wants to start as and how they want to continue that vision from that original germ. Yeah. Do you feel like right now, being over here, it's your second tour, you guys are going through the States, you're on Epitaph, this is your headlining tour. Do you feel that you guys are starting to see that vision that you came up with originally when you started the band?
Yes and no. I mean, what's happened is, back home we've become this, you know, enormous monster, and over here we're completely unknown. And
you're still working
that to
for
me
it.
Is absolutely fantastic. That's like the greatest thing we could have. We have got the ultimate job, because when we come out here, it's like starting all over again. But we've got the best backing. You know, we've got Epitaph. We're on an indie label that's so well respected in the punk community. We wouldn't want to be on anything else, and we're just out here to work hard like we have done at home. And I can see it's just like 2 years ago, you know, for us. When we come out here, it's exactly how it was back home, but, you know, bigger and more people, and everyone's excited, and the band's new and the band's fresh. So to us, we're playing the same songs we've been playing for 3 years, but when we come out here, we're psyched to play them, because these kids have never heard them. So, like, as soon as you start playing, they just lose their minds, and they're just like, we've been waiting to hear this for 2 months, you know, and here it is, and it's definitely working towards, like, a vision of Gallows. I don't know where it's going to end up, but